money, Lebowski? Where's the money, Lebowski? Where's the fucking money, shithead?
It's down there somewhere. Let me take another look.
I just want to understand this, sir. Every time a rug is micturated upon in this fair city, I have to compensate the owner? The bum's lost, Lebowski. Welcome to another edition of our lovely little podcast here. It's called The Good Talk, and we love each and every one of you that are listening. You can find us at The Good Talk 5 on Twitter, and we are on iTunes. It's The Good Talk, all one word. My partner in crime, the engineer of this show, the man and the glue that perhaps is tying this all together, hiding a 5-hour, sucking it down so that he can be here and make this show happen for you. He's sacrificing his life to be on the line and his sleep that he needs, sucking 5 hours down. Chris Reb.
Thank me for being here. It's your pleasure.
Dude, it's my pleasure. And we have welcomed a previous guest back. I love having him for a second time. This guy's realm of knowledge really proved to be a lot of fun to play with. He knows comics, he knows art, he knows futurism. He's an artist, a tattoo artist, an author. Welcome back, Mr. Justin R. Martin.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Dude, plug it, brother. Where are you coming from?
You can find all of my work at posemuse.com, and that will take you to my not my Facebook, but my Amazon and all the fun stuff. Anyway, check it out.
And what you got a tattoo shop? Can we just mention it or?
Yeah. Well, I work primarily out of Psych Ward Tattoos in Minot, North Dakota.
It's worthy of mention if any of you who know me personally have seen the glorious tattoo Star Wars sleeve I have. It came from there. Lots of great artists here, but I love that one. We want to launch right into a fucking awesome Good Talk 5. We jammed with Justin last time, and I can't wait to pick his brain again. I'm going to open with what we wanted to be our closer last time, and a question we've toyed with just once before, and we only got to sort of skip along the surface of this question like a toddler who threw a rock into a river. And now we're going to drop the fucking brick into the bottom of the ocean of this question, right into Justin's head, and we are rolling.
Drop that brick.
What has a stronger impact in our lives? Belief or pure, true, tangible knowledge?
Oh, good question.
Yeah, man. I knew you were a guy that I could fucking load this one up on.
This is an easy one.
5 hour
This is an
debate.
easy one for me, though. It's belief, because there is no true tangible knowledge, in my opinion.
It's a fair point. It's a
right
fair point.
at the bottom of the universe, everything is subjective, and so when you build on quantum vortices as reality, that means
Quantum what?
quantum vortices.
What the fuck is a vortice? What are you
Don't
talking
forget
about?
fluctuations.
Quantum
You mean
fluctuations.
dimensions and black holes, or what are you going
I'm talking
here?
about the energy, the substrate of the universe is chaos.
Quantum foam.
And so when you build on that, you can't build any objective reality.
This doesn't work that way.
There's a lot of really smart people, and I don't know exactly who this is, but basically when you he said, and I can't remember who it was, but he said, anytime you use the word reality, you need to use it in quotes.
Sure.
Because it's different for everyone. What you see and witness and what you understand the world to be might be completely different from the guy sitting right next to you. So I think our belief goes a long way. The observable universe is about belief, and so I have to go with what I believe.
Rob?
He makes a fine point. What we would call empirical evidence or rock solid truth or anything like that really does break down to at a certain point you were sold on the fact that it's true, so you now believe it. Whereas by adjusting any of those things, as further things come to light, you'll find out there are more ins and outs, and your reality changes as subject, and it really does. Again, you're just forming a new belief structure, and it does break down to belief. I endorse this as reality. That means I believe it. That sort of goes into the entire realm of quantum theory and condensing waves of infinite probability into the rock solid reality, quote unquote, that we perceive.
the goddamn plane has crashed into the mountain here with you two fucks representing the power of belief because factually, actually it's not fact. I'm just fucking throwing that out there. But belief has sort of become poisoned by confirmation bias.
I completely agree, by the way.
Of course.
Absolutely.
And that sort of becomes a problem where knowledge now, perhaps, knowledge gained, knowledge perceived. Why is it the same people who have some magnificent belief of any sort of fictitious figure, whether it be a ghost or a spirit or an imaginary friend or God or an alien or their dog talks to them? Why is that sort of a thing that people can subscribe to and have a belief in, but then those are the same sort of people that oftentimes will say, I don't believe it until I see it. You can't tell me. I've never seen that, so it must not be real. You can't have your fucking foot on both sides of this one.
Well, you can, and I'll tell you why you can. The reason why you can't have your foot on both sides is because you shouldn't believe anything unless you see it yourself. If we go all the way back to quantum theory, nothing exists unless it's observed, and so that's one thing. Now, that being said, where do you fall on climate change?
I don't know if we want to visit that realm, but I do believe climate is changing. I certainly feel as though humans influence what is happening globally. I see
those are two different questions.
Yeah, I see our planet as a global structure, and we do have an effect on what is happening to it. So we are influencing how our planet is evolving.
Sure, but because it's cold outside right now, that means that climate change isn't happening, or global warming hasn't occurred because it's cold out, right? But that's the ignorance you fight when you have this sort of conversation.
And that's why it comes back to belief or knowledge. Well, if I have the knowledge, then I understand.
We can show empirical evidence that the climate is changing. The climate has always changed.
That's what climate is, right?
Climate never is a static thing.
It's a system.
It's always evolved as long as the Earth has been here. We know that. That's not the problem. The question comes down to this politicized debate as to whether or not it's man-made, or to what percentage we are to attribute to man's activities.
Okay, well, the reason why anybody asks that question is because it should lead into, are you willing to change how you live?
Right.
To just in case it really is a real thing.
Right.
Well, if you ask me the question that way, hey, we think the climate, we think that human beings and our activity on here is changing
We're at least
things.
Influencing it.
Right, in a truly negative way. Would you be willing to accept an electric car, in lieu of your gas-powered one? Well, sure, of course. I'm not a complete jerk. I mean, of course I'll make some changes. I would love to not have to depend on stuff we dig out of the ground.
Right.
To light my house.
There are a million.
But unless you give me options, don't tell me that I can't take a shower more than 2 minutes.
Right.
Because you're not willing to invest in new technology. So green technology, absolutely no problem. I'll accept it any day of the week. I don't care where my electricity comes from, as long as I get it.
Yeah.
Now, so that's when the Prince of England tells me that I can't take a shower more than 3 minutes.
Did that happen or something?
Yes.
Is that a real thing?
You look at Prince Charles shower, blah, blah, blah. It's all these... It goes back to... I, as a human being, like pointing out hypocrisy at every... It's like my favorite pastime.
It's sort of my thing.
So when Al Gore tells me that I have to lower my carbon footprint, but he owns 4 homes and flies around in private jets and has multiple children, which is the easiest way to lower your footprint...
Have less kids.
Then I point out the hypocrisy and I dismiss it because it goes back to belief.
If you don't believe it enough to change your own life,
it short circuits my logic.
And I like that you said that because I've recently been feeling like I wanted to invest some of my extra money into some solar companies, almost as a sort of peace of mind, knowing that I am actually in some form willing to invest my personal dollars into a cause I believe in. And I know solar isn't there. It's not as easy as we want it to be right now. I firmly believe, as somebody who subscribes to futurism, that we will get there. I don't subscribe to the concept that oil or fossil fuels are the epicenter and the epitome and the pinnacle of the human's ability to produce energy. Whether or not we are on the precipice or we ever will discover the next step, I think could be what defines us as a race. But I know enough to understand we can't rely forever on a finite resource. That's just simple logic. I know that, if there's X amount of food in my fucking pantry, then I can eat this much, and that's just how it works, right?
Back in the early part of the last century, there was actually an argument going on because it costs a lot of money to maintain a patent office, that they were like, well, you know what, there are really not going to be any more big patents coming up. Yeah. So let's just close the patent office. We really don't need it. All the inventions have been invented. And so with that...
all the inventions have been invented. I guess we can stop the fucking time history right here, right now.
Much covered
and
this
so
thing called humanity.
that right there,
God.
that right there is some kind of...
Why did that happen?
Weird. It's some kind of weird thing that happens to humans, is that now is the best time to be alive, or actually 10 years ago was the best time to be alive. And so let's just stop all progress where it is. But going back to what you're saying, there's no way burning fossil fuels is the best way to...
It's not. We all need it. We all have to live with it.
Today, here and now, sure.
The sun hits the planet. There's your biggest,
Wait, what are you saying? The sun hits the planet. What do you mean by that?
But you and your activist in investing is a good thing, and people do it all the time, and they do it different ways. You take the money just to say, you know what, asshole? I do believe in this. You know what? I at least did this.
I want to say I put my money where my mouth is.
Well, and that's a good way. And
right?
people do it when it's the same. It would be the same thing as if you went down and worked at a soup kitchen. You're giving back your time and energy to make the world a better place. And so investing in something that you see could make the world a better place I think it's a great thing to do.
Maybe we'll try a fundraiser on one of our podcast episodes where we donate a fucking vast portion of the proceeds or all of our proceeds to a solar cause if people really believe in that and want to get unified with us, because we do believe it. Yeah, we do believe it.
Or buy a carbon credit or whatever they call it.
Right, yeah.
And
can private people buy
I feel like you're unified with us when you can say perhaps throughout your life you've taken a stance of I want to apply new thinking to old problems, right?
Absolutely.
And it's a matter of progress. It's a big part of what we do here, right, Rob? I mean, what does that mean to us?
Now not the best time
in history.
not only to be here, but to begin. That it's so critical now more than ever to begin to really feel that impending shift, that impending change that you know is coming.
You live in the future.
We live in the future.
I do. I you know what?
Absolutely
Star Trek has got nothing on me. I'm holding up my cell phone for you guys, my smartphone. Star Trek has nothing on the tech that I carry in my pocket every day.
Never have predicted.
I love the fucking analogy, and I didn't come up with this. I promise you, I read it somewhere. So don't quote me on this, but it was so crazy. If you go back when Star Trek first came out in the 70s, they had thought of everything. They could transport molecular redistribution of a human from one place to the other. But when it came to getting knowledge or transferring real information, they didn't even know Google. They were still using a walkie-talkie. So the future we're living in now wasn't even conceived by what some would argue were some of the greatest in that realm future minds.
Every prediction of the future has inevitably fallen short of what actually
there's
came
probably
about.
a lot of other good ones that did predict sort of things like that too, though.
And that's how capable human beings are.
I mean, Jim Morrison referenced that in the future humans would have the ability to communicate worldwide. He knew it. He had suggested at one point in time.
If this is not digital telepathy, what is it?
It absolutely
digital telepathy. Wow, what do you mean by that?
I
That's
can
a cool
send a
statement.
thought to my wife right now while we're talking, and it's just a thought.
Is it not? It's just being translated through your monkey
it's
hands
the digital
into a
version
device
of mental telepathy.
Right. Yeah.
I can affect the
It's a
world
beautiful
with
way
this
to
too. I
perceive
can
it.
turn the lights on and off in my house with this. I can start my
your
car.
car.
I can do all kinds of stuff. Boy, you and I are in sync tonight, buddy.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
Some
boom,
people would
In
argue that
much-
at that point, calling someone has become a less effective means of communication.
Yeah, it's something only old people do now.
Right.
When my phone rings, it's somebody who wants something from me, or it's my mother. It's just it's if the phone rings and it's anybody but my mom, I panic because everybody texts.
Something's wrong.
So the knowledge that it's your mom calling you strikes a belief that shit's hitting the fan. I don't want to answer.
Oh no,
this.
no! If my mom's calling, it just means that she's old and she doesn't want to type with her.
Right.
Oh yeah,
Anybody
she can't do
but
it. Yeah, my mom can't
that
text
indicates
either.
something's wrong.
Yeah,
That's
but
gonna raise a red
if my
flag.
wife were to flat out call me right now, there's something wrong.
You're like, oh
Yeah.
fuck, I gotta pause this or like whatever. It's like trying to tell your kid to pause a multiplayer game, and they just like, what? I can't pause
can't
this.
just pause
like
this.
there's people killing. It's happening right now. I remember trying to make that
This
statement
reality
to my parents.
exists
It was
also.
so funny. It does. When I was playing like a big multiplayer EverQuest, I got big into that. It was a huge influence on my life at that point. And yeah, my parents had no understanding the concept that I couldn't just like pause this game. There'd be moments where you and a group of virtual people are in a group together, and you have been together fighting your way through dungeons and evil foes and bosses and difficulties. 5 people were in a group, and you could have fought your way to this great point for 3 hours. And once you get to that point, well, that's where like the best guy is. That's where like the head boss is, and if you can hold your position in a certain spot, you can do what they call farm him. And some of you who have played an online game are familiar with this, but once you fought there, you can farm the boss, and you can sit there for hours, and what you attain is, of course, like the most incredible items and the most powerful boosts to your character. And it was amazing. And people would even find ways to monetize this, and this was the best way to get your character. So, like, if you are into one of these positions in this game, you have fought in real time 3 to 4 hours to get there, and then you're willing to invest another 3 to 4 hours to fight there, so you have chances at loots. Because what happens is when the loot comes up, it might not be for your guy. It might be for like a wizard, or if you're like a warrior and there's a druid. Well, you'd either have a rule in the group that each of 5 guys has to roll for the right to that fucking loot, or if it's for your class, you automatically get it. Dude, people would come in and out, like, dude, because it would be such a coveted position. You could teleport other people in and out of there, trying to what they call farm this item. And dude, there was this. I fucking farmed an item for 3 fucking days one time.
What was it?
It was called the Charm of Latazal, and it was this
I
fucking
should have
crazy
known.
turtle.
Of course, there's the Charm of Latazal.
How do you fucking get your parents to understand? You can't pause
It's reality.
that.
You can't
It was,
make
at that
me
point.
It is reality.
understand sitting here next to you.
Yeah.
I,
But that's a good example of a shared digital hallucination. You
Right.
actually
Right.
had a digital
I like it.
experience with other people,
Yeah.
and they all have similar memories of something
still
that
real to
never
me, damn it.
occurred.
Never. I had virtual friends that helped me maintain that position for like 3 days.
Right.
They sat there with me. They took my spot when I couldn't be there, when I had to go to work. They probably still fucking remember that. I mean, it was a 3-day effort.
Well, of course you do.
Yeah.
for a Charm of Latazal.
Well, and I got the eye patch of plunder in the end.
well,
Holy cow.
Yeah, the eye patch of plunder. Doesn't that sound awesome?
can't
that
have a
sounds
Charm
awesome.
of Latazal without an
I mean,
Patch of Thunder, bro.
Justin, if you were the fucking medieval sorcerer wizard that you want to be
yeah.
with your green fire dragon with wings, you want the eye patch of plunder to help
Yes,
you.
of course.
Of course you do.
Well, I'd have 3.
Where's your third eye? That's amazing. Right where it belongs, right?
Right.
I am entirely outclassed here.
Oh boy. That
No,
was
we-
rough.
I know nothing of Charms of
EverQuest?
Latazal.
Dude, that was a realm of nerdery that perhaps we've never gone before,
Yes.
but we went there, and
I felt like it needed
that's-
to be explored.
well, that is the digital world 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Right.
Where is the digital world now? People are investing money in digital realms. People are losing money in digital realms. You can buy virtual property right now.
Well, the new thing now is everybody's talking about it. It's augmented and virtual reality, right?
Yeah.
And this idea of augmented reality is just a layer over
Right.
the current world. And in this augmented world, let's say you're all wearing this new Microsoft Holo gear.
Mm-hmm.
There could be a 4th person sitting in here because there's only 3 of us. There could be a 4th person sitting in here, and we would see them
Right.
sitting there.
Yep.
But really, they would be someplace else.
Yep.
and the computer would just overlay them in our reality, and they would literally take up the space that we're looking at.
Right.
Is that happening right now for
Oh,
like
absolutely.
mega corporations,
Absolutely.
like the hologram representations of people?
Yes,
Like,
not just people, digital pets, big screen 4K TVs on the wall that you don't own.
As you're walking through a store, and maybe you're something's on sale, it's jumping out, flashing at you, or you can. Oh gosh, all kinds of things.
Well, you could have
facts about certain things, traffic reports coming up in real time, just overlaid over what you're already looking at. Like I look at a picture on your wall, it could come up who painted that picture, what year it was produced, any number of things describing it or having to do where I can order it. It's right over your field of vision.
What it could be a barcode that my eyeglasses read, and depending on what you want on your wall that day, you can program that barcode to be a certain piece of art, and I would only see the artwork and not the barcode.
So I want to confirm we all stand with belief then, right?
Back to the
No, we have to. We have to come full circle.
Yes, absolutely. Belief.
And the reason I want to follow up with that
because you believe that you got the eye patch or whatever, and we don't.
Yeah. Well, and the reality
Picture, it didn't happen.
The reality of what happened there was a belief shared by myself and people all over the world who didn't even know each other.
Right.
But we believed there was a sense of continuity, that there had to be help.
You all
we had to help
endorsed
one
the
another.
importance of that situation.
Yeah.
But I want to circle back, Justin, to
that's a good one.
You sort of embracing technology and this concept that something could scan your glasses and know what's happening, because there is a sort of fear. There's the Uncle Sam. There's he is watching. There's that fear of somebody's going to get you. People don't. The microchip presentation, Rub and I have sort of talked about, would we accept a simple microchip in our brains that would allow us utter digital access within, our brains into our interconnected media? And that's a terrifying prospect for a lot of people who fear the Uncle Sam, or that somebody's going to be listening, or that somebody's going to get them. So the reality is, or not, do you think, can you really say that you logically fear that reality when truly, if Uncle Sam wanted to watch you, they can fucking actually zoom in on any piece of technology you own right now?
Well, you have to believe that you have to believe that you've got some kind of privacy now to fear it, to fear not having, or to fear of having somebody in your personal space or in your, in your thought. I'm gonna. If there's any chance that I can upload my brain to a computer and live forever, I'm going to take the chance. I don't care.
You don't fear that?
No, absolutely not. I'm the guy. I want to live for 20,000 years.
And the sort of thing is like, if the Uncle Sam wanted to listen on you,
he's listening now.
He's listening now
already.
And that's
Edward Snowden
exactly.
has proven
It's not
that you have no privacy at all.
Not if they don't want you to.
Well, this is how far it goes. You're asking me to give you my opinion on something that delicate, a topic that it's that personal, and then we're going to stick it up on the internet for the world to listen to at any point. No, you know what? And I don't believe in that whole, well, if you got nothing to hide, then what does it matter? I just think we're already past that point.
No, we are.
And
it happened a long time ago.
I don't know. I hope that technology continues to speed along at a pace that's so fast that they can't corrupt it to the point where they can get rid of all of the poor people. That's all I care about. I just want my own. I just want to race to the finish line and then have them machine gun the crowd behind me. I'm just saying
That's
that
metal.
somebody's going to have to. I think that it's within our sights. All of the futurists, if you pay attention, Google now has Ray Kurzweil working for them.
Yeah.
They've offered him immortality for
He's
his
my
time.
homie.
They said, you somehow invent immortality and we'll make you the first immortal. That's what they've offered Kurzweil. And
That's
the fact that
amazing.
they've dumped money into that and continue to dump money into it, Kurzweil himself says if you can live to 2040, you get to live forever.
Yep.
That's what I want. I
That's
want
where he put
Google
the singularity.
life.
Oh.
And I'm okay. You know what? Somebody's paying attention to it. If they've learned anything from metadata filtering, if the NSA has learned anything, or the intelligence community has learned anything from metadata filtering, is that they don't get any information out of it. It's such ballast. Ballast is the wrong word. It's such chaff that they've never really stopped a crime with it because there's no way to capture it all. And my thoughts are boring as shit, so why do I care?
Yeah.
They really are not worried about me.
I don't have a whole lot of
As
profundity
even if I was
going
the
on.
biggest, even if I was super...
What realm do you live in where you truly think they're listening to you?
Right.
I mean, come on.
Well, they sift the metadata out.
With
they look at your calling
global
patterns, and
landscape.
that's it.
I mean,
You know?
they've got the ability to listen in anywhere in America. Most of them are going to go straight to the sack somewhere. Like, come on. They're not listening to you.
And I honestly don't care if they know what my Pornhub proclivities are. I really don't care.
What are you gonna?
None of my
do with,
it wouldn't
like, who
embarrass me in
cares?
front of any of my friends if they were like, you know what, Justin likes this, and my friends would
It's
go,
just how
yeah, I
baseless some
expected
people
it.
would use that fucking power.
You know,
Right,
that's
right.
just it. But there's nothing they can use that. Look, I don't cheat on my wife. I don't cheat on my taxes. I don't. You know, there's a lot.
Allegedly.
They have very little leverage on a guy like me. I don't. And if they want to make something up, they can make something up. That's the danger.
And they were going to do that anyway.
That's the danger of it, is that if they want to pin something on you, they can go back into 5 years of your phone calls and
Yeah.
texts
And piece it together.
and
That's
create
crazy.
a
I
narrative.
suggested that before.
They can
and
create a narrative.
That was the
That's the danger.
suggestion when they built the vast data warehouses in Utah that essentially your conversations could be subject to being stored. And as you said, if they needed to create a patsy,
Well, in a McCarthyism
crazy.
kind of way, if they start looking for, thought criminals, well, I'm up on the list, and the beauty is I think it's a simulation anyway. Life isn't that damn important, so it's
all just a ride.
It's like I'm blessed to have the time that I've had. I just
Sure.
As a test of morality, I'm just going to continue being myself, and you know what? It's worked out so far.
Right.
You know what? It really didn't personally change how I saw or how I think the world reacted when Bush was elected, and it didn't really change when Obama was elected, and it didn't really change. You know what? You know what matters to a guy like me? Who's on my freaking school board in my school district? Because
That should matter
That's
to
who
you.
Picks the curriculum for my children.
Right.
So, those kinds of things are what matters. And
that was a really fun topic we had a while
you're
back
absolutely right.
with James Owens is how that is shaped and how curriculum is shaped. And
that must be where I got it. I listened to that.
It is,
episode.
dude. No, it is. It is
Yeah.
perhaps really foolish, as a lot of teachers would agree and a lot of educators would agree, how curriculum is currently established.
in the way
I
they
don't
teach.
appreciate a government body that doesn't allow more of the civilian input that sort of rules. Yeah, the professional civilian input that rules how these teachings are going to be established and distributed. And it's just sort of a weird thing. It's like that 80-20 principle. Are you guys familiar with that? That at any given time, 20% of anything decides 80% of the rest of it. So if you look at the teacher, like the teacher educator dichotomy in who chooses how the curriculum is established is 20% teachers, 80% government ideology.
Yeah, I see that. I was listening to
And
that podcast.
that spreads everywhere, the 80-20 principle.
Yeah,
doubt.
and
No doubt.
that actually makes sense, because if you think about like any kind of cultural movement that changes the way society functions, say the Vietnam War, it wasn't a large percentage of the people out there protesting. It was a very small percentage. I was thinking about the educational thing because I was listening to it, and I think that as technology continues to speed up, we're expecting. The way teachers teach now is they stand in front of a class and lecture, which just assumes that all teachers
Not necessarily.
are lecturers. And so places like websites like the Khan Academy have flipped that on its head. And the homework is to watch the lecture, which is a professionally produced lecture on whatever the topic is. And the kid gets to go home and take notes as homework.
Sure.
When they get to watch it more than once, they get to slow it down and speed it up as they want. They can learn, they can absorb the knowledge in the environment that they're comfortable in. And then when they go back to school the next day, the teacher is there to give one-on-one instruction.
Fill in blanks.
And they do their quote-unquote homework at school.
Right.
And then when I don't really get this teacher, the teacher's right there and can give them one-on-one. It's an interesting way, that education is morphing a little bit. I like Khan Academy because you can just go online and see
that more
stuff.
fits the paradigm of what they're going to experience after school anyway. In other words, that's how I attain my information. I go about my own research and on my own time and invest my own effort into attaining information, and then eventually, hopefully, I get to have one-on-one contact with a person who may be a little bit further along that curve. We can present each other ideas. We can suss each other out, and we can both benefit from that.
Right.
Not only am I pulled forward by his or her more full understanding of the topic, but they're also going over things and reviewing them inside their own head as to maybe revising something that they're not exactly sure on, or that's how they grow anyway too, is by revision.
Well, and that whole the whole learning
fine.
on the internet thing used to be a joke. It used to be a punchline. No, I just learned it on the internet yesterday,
Right.
and you're
So some
an
people
idiot,
it
and
still
you're
is,
an
but
idiot
yeah.
for not knowing it. But it's not like that anymore, because if you know that you're going to be sitting down with somebody talking about electric bicycles or something like that, you're going to go online and look at 30 videos on electric bikes
Real quick,
So when
I
you
can
have
get
the
up to
conversation,
speed.
right?
I can
boom,
get up to
boom,
speed
boom,
fast.
And it's not like you warehouse the information for 10 seconds and forget about it.
No,
Like
it's
I
there,
remember
bud.
a lot of useless crap
Oh,
that
I'm-
really
No, it
winds up
becomes a
being
stored
useful
habit.
Chock
later.
full of useless shit.
I feel like a well-educated person suddenly.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I finally can listen to people. I love this statistic. I finally feel like a person who's educated. And the reason why is because I go online and I listen to people who are highly educated. So, and what I like about it is like they looked at speeches by George Washington, and he spoke at a graduate level. And it stayed at about a graduate level until about the mid-1800s, and then it started to slide with popular media and newspapers and stuff.
Sure.
They actually analyzed most speeches by politicians today, and it was, and I'm not picking on Donald Trump. I don't care what I don't care what anybody else's political affiliation is. Vote for who you want to.
Vote for
but
who you want
Donald
to.
Trump's speeches are at a 4th grade level. Well, if you're listening to somebody who speaks at a 4th grade level, you think at a 4th grade level.
Sure.
And so the nice thing about doing research and listening to people who are highly educated, I love TED Talks.
Does it not bring you up?
It makes you smarter.
I believe it does.
So
You
I
have to have the
firmly believe it
Willington
does.
and self-discipline to seek that out, and
You do.
There is,
And you know who gave me that?
An entrenchment that people have, and we can't always bring them out of that, and that's just sort of how it lands sometimes.
Well, the
Really.
people who are listening to this, if they're listening to it on YouTube, they're part of the new, erudition. Is that what they call it? The new highly educated, because that's where there's chaff, there's garbage,
Of course.
but there's really good stuff on YouTube. My 15-year-old son said,
can
"Dad,
learn
why aren't you looking at YouTube for YouTube
anything.
is the second largest search engine in the world."
You can learn anything.
Yeah.
Anything
On YouTube.
Look,
Anything.
I'm a guy who
Anything.
can't fix anything myself. I can't. I'm not a handyman. I'm like so fucking far removed from being handy, and my dryer broke down.
Yep.
Sure.
And
I know this.
I got on fucking YouTube. Dude, I got on YouTube.
Oh, I've done this kind of thing a million times.
And searched exactly what was wrong. Like I searched my dryer and I had problems, and I watched a video. Dude, it like I was able to take my dryer apart, find out the little spring pulley mechanism, whatever the fuck it was, order it from my local shop, and a guy who can't fix anything, actually fixed my own dryer because I was able to watch like a 7.5 minute YouTube video.
This is what the founding. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, bud.
Yeah, you're
I got
I
you.
got really weird in my mic for a second.
Oh, sorry. No, I got you.
So this is what the founding fathers wanted when they created the library. They wanted general knowledge for all freely.
Sure.
And so I see YouTube as the version 2, like the type 1 civilization library because it's accumulated human knowledge and it grows daily. That's the best part.
I fucking love how many guys in their garage want to show people how to fix shit.
Oh my God.
It's unbelievable.
When you did your
good
dryer,
for all. I love all of you that do that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. When you did your dryer, I bet you didn't just find a generic dryer. I bet you found even your brand.
No, I found my exact brand.
Your exact.
Yeah.
Some guy showed you how to repair. Some guy was like, you know what? Somebody's gonna want to know how to fix this exact brand, and he showed.
Trust me, there's a few thousand people that watched the video before me at least.
That's
it was
incredible, man.
It was widely used. And dude, and actually the dude on there, like he would show you how to fix your dishwasher. The guy was super handy, man. And the fact that you have that instantaneous shared body of knowledge at your fingertips now, it's sort of become crazy.
We have to rethink education because of that.
Yes,
I agree. I have myself sort of subdued to YouTube's knowledge in many aspects over the years, having worked in video games and retail. We would get all these crazy technical questions all the time. And we were ultimately just really fun guys who played video games and liked talking to people. I can carry you through the very basic aspects of what it takes to, troubleshoot the simplest forms of Xbox or PlayStation problems, but people would think we would have this expertise in the technical realm, and now
who else do they turn to?
Of course. And now I can just tell people, look, I promise you, if you go to YouTube and you put in exactly what you're looking for, and it's crazy to me how many people would respond to me when I told them that. Wow, I never thought of that.
Right. Well, okay.
Why don't people think? Why don't? Yes, dude. I'm telling you. I'm telling you, so many people. Why are they asking me?
You have the entirety
and this
of human knowledge and expertise.
This wasn't like a once a week thing.
Right.
It was
I suggest you use it.
How great is this?
No, they're watching titty videos and people wipe out.
Well, I do that too.
Nobody's going to fucking YouTube to, find out how to fix some stupid problem. They want to see people crash and burn and fall and land on their nutsack.
Videos too, but
come on. Or they want to see the inspirational cover, like.
What's Kanye doing right now?
The 17-piece junior high chorus that's playing 46 and 2, or that's what people are discovering.
That's a really negative viewpoint of fellow humans, because you're being
very cynical.
For a fact that a couple of thousand people went on there just to find out how to fix your brand.
Right.
Oh, tons
of
tons.
I back in the day, early 1997, I was building websites. I taught myself HTML.
The guy landing on his nuts had millions of views.
On a tripod account. So when I actually got a job in the industry, I was working on Sprint.com. It was the first big professional website I built. Sprint.com. No shit. 1,500 pages hand-coded. Okay. But you have to know some shit to do that. Well, this is before O'Reilly wrote the HTML Bible.
Okay.
So we were actually going back into old documents and looking at it. Well, a couple of years later, suddenly there was this huge library. Of reference books for coders. And the joke was, this goes back to the Google and the YouTube thing. A coder is only as good as his reference, right? You're only.
I wouldn't know. I have no knowledge.
You only know. Nobody stores that kind of knowledge in their head. That kind of syntax and whatever in their head.
It's too much.
You just, if you need to know something, you flip to your book. Well, now that's been stripped away, and now a reference is the internet. If I want to know how to code something in JavaScript, I can go to the internet, and there is a place that will show me step by step on how to code, or how to fix my carburetor, or how to fix my dryer, or anything. What we've turned into is the Matrix. And what we've turned into is, you were asking earlier, if you could have a chip that allowed you to connect with all your social stuff and all your media.
I want to learn how to fly that helicopter.
And so instead of plugging in a disc like they did in the Matrix, you would, with your chip, go to YouTube, plug in the repair subroutine for your dryer, and you would become an expert at that instantly.
Right.
No, that's amazing, and that's kind of how it should be. I like that. Now, would that stick there, or like you can just kind of cycle through, right? Because you can't have them all at all times. You would only be able to store so much if you're
Right.
like uploading those.
Well, you'd be able to store parts, and you know what? We have not really pushed the limits of what we're willing to learn yet.
Well,
So
how
who
about-
knows?
No, I agree.
If you're storing on the cloud, and
Well, you don't need to store anything.
you
That's
need
the
to
beauty
store
of the
it.
cloud.
It is all on the cloud.
Yeah.
It's just an instantaneous download, or more like a
It's a-
constant connection.
It's a shared. It's a shared set of memories. No, it's a shared set of.
Memories, experiences, and knowledge.
Experiences, right.
The entirety
Ooh, that's
of
kind of
human experience.
creepy all by itself,
I'm
isn't
down
it?
with it.
That's kind of to know that your neighbor could use the same subroutine that you use to fix your dryer. It's so you're like, oh, that's kind of weird. We share the same memories. I love it.
I mean, in some weird way, it's not the
We do,
same
though.
memory as much as it is the same information.
We all share the same memory of the chick like buttering the floor. So when her boyfriend came in, he wiped out and broke his tailbone. You know, that's a shared memory too.
Is it not?
I mean, Google and YouTube has created this world. We're creating so much new media we're adding to it with this podcast.
Yeah, we are.
We're actually creating something that's going to live forever in some database. And we're adding to this sum total of knowledge that's added to this internet every single second of every day. It's pretty incredible.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, that's where
we're-
the singularity comes
We're
in.
birthing a singularity
Right.
as we speak.
At some point, there will be so much knowledge and everything will change so quick. Look, when I was growing up, there were 4 dimensions: length, width, height, and time. That
Right.
was it.
Yeah.
By the time I was out of college, there were 11 dimensions. I mean, shit
There are
changed
some that
real quick.
postulate as
Suddenly-
many. I've heard 20.
Well, suddenly it went from sci-fi would talk about parallel worlds to
Yeah.
reputable scientists were
Now
talking
they're-
about
yeah,
parallel
they're
worlds, and not only a
considering-
couple of them.
Not only a couple, infinite ones, in fact.
You know, and
Well,
so
one of
the-
our favorites is Kaku.
Yeah.
Michio Kaku is
theoretical
incredible.
physicist. Yeah,
Yeah.
he is clearly familiar. I know you
Absolutely.
referenced the different tiers of civilization
Absolutely.
earlier.
I have
So
an autographed copy of Physics of the Future.
Oh boy,
That's
old
one
shit
of my,
now.
One of my, yeah, it is. But he's referencing that in that one he talks a lot about the
augmented reality.
Is
So-
augmented reality contact lens, and that's on its way.
for
like,
the
soon.
layman, when a lot of standard when a lot of standard thoughts about physics kind of occur within the realm of what we know and how we understand rocket ships and astronauts, less of the public eye is familiar with the concept of theoretical physics. So I know you guys both have a really cool grasp on this.
bit of a hobby.
And I want you to maybe help somebody who isn't familiar with that, because the way Kaku speaks, if you showed that to certain people, he is going to sound like he's fucking living in a fantasy realm.
Yeah.
And what is there to reinforce these crazy
Theoretical physics is
allegations?
a fantasy world.
Oh, no,
That's-
But
It's an
there is
informed
good
fantasy
there
world.
is good science to back it up, and
Right.
so that's not to put you in the spot, but how
No,
do you
not at
relate
all.
that? How do you relate that? Because I love it. I'm with him, but you can see this point where like dude sounds like a kook.
But you only
know?
have to make an explanation for people who are older than you and not younger than you, because the paradigm shift is occurring while we're watching it, of not just an acceptance of what's possible, but like a innate understanding of the possibilities of what's going on. If I talk to my 17-year-old son about this stuff, he gets it.
Yeah.
He gets it better than I do.
on an almost level.
Right. It's of course, Dad. I watch television.
Yeah.
You know, and which he doesn't, by the way. I mean, he'll watch a show every now and then. Does anybody watch? Oh, yeah, okay. Not. But as far as explaining it to people, it's one of those things that is so mainstreamed now that we think it's scary and weird, but I mean, it's not anymore. I mean, it used to be you have to. Let's say it's like Spider-Man. It used to be every time there's a new Spider-Man movie, they had to explain how Spider-Man was made.
Right.
And then at some point, it's common knowledge like Zeus and Apollo and the myths that now when you see Spider-Man, there's no need to explain it.
No.
He's Spider-Man.
Right.
And so there's no need to explain quantum theory. It's quantum theory.
It should be taken for a given. Not just we can't expect, or we can't stand out here and say that you can do the complex mathematics.
No.
But at least we can infer that you get that there are two different interpretations. They don't necessarily jive. One of them allows for very fantastic things to happen, where if these things were occurring in relativistic space, they would be looked upon as magic or sorcery. But they are in fact happening. We can show mathematical models where you can describe reality using every bit of quantum physics. It's stood the test of everything that's ever been thrown at it.
The nice thing about the way theoretical physics has been, we're all nerds now, you know? And so the nice thing about the way theoretical
we all
physics...
should be. I don't know if we all are.
Oh, we are. As it's mainstreamed in Nat Geo and the Science Channel have made this all accessible to everybody. Everybody knows who Neil deGrasse Tyson is. Everybody knows who Stephen Hawking is. Everybody knows who Elon Musk is. Everybody. I mean, you start talking about now we got to make up shit to just keep people guessing. You know,
Yeah.
It's like not only is it possible, but it probably has occurred in some reality. I mean, if you say that in just about any circle now, somebody be like, yeah, I get what you mean, quantum.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah.
And but the nice thing about Michio Kaku is Michio Kaku is the head of physics at New York University,
NYU, I believe. Yeah.
and he's been around forever. I used to hear him at late
think
night
it's
on Art
City
Bell. And but he's the guy who speaks plain English when he talks about this kind of stuff.
Right.
And
Yeah, he's very straightforward and assertive with his presentation, and I love it. And I want to subscribe to his presentation of the potential realities out there within our galaxies, because I think it's fantastic.
Well,
he knows, and we are. A lot of people would share the philosophy that the internet and our ability to communicate globally was the next step in evolution. And the debate there for Rub and I sort of came, well, the genetic evolution is something that cannot sort of be reset, at least not without ease. If we consider the internet and global communication as a level of evolution, it means we are dangerous. It means perhaps we are standing at the precipice of something great. The reality is the internet and our ability to transfuse our thoughts to one another with it could be ended through some sort of crazy electromagnetic attack or storm, or just something terrible happening within the geopolitical landscape. It's not a solidified thing. It's not a guaranteed thing.
It's still very vulnerable.
The internet can't live forever. If we evolved tomorrow as a race and we all had, hooks standing out of our shoulders, that's not going back, right? That's with us now. We've evolved to that.
Right.
The internet can be axed. In fact,
not easily. No.
Not easily. But on a global landscape,
If we're talking
you
like
can drain
like
people.
solar mass ejection,
Yeah.
or something
Yeah,
that
exactly.
would completely eradicate.
It would have to be. It would have to be the thing that
anything
scorches
not-
the entire surface of the
Right,
earth.
and that's the thing is, you're not at that point. You're not just losing technological devices or anything that runs on electricity. You're blowing away a large percentage of the atmosphere into space. So
That is
your challenges
that's
your challenges don't just end at we don't have internet today. It's my God, we can't breathe anymore.
Well, Michio Kaku calls the internet a type 1
Type 1 civilization's phone system.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
No, and so that's
exactly.
that's
And so if that was erased, we're taking a step back, and it still can be.
If they
I'm
were to
racking
if they were to shut off the internet today, it would be a huge step backwards in for our. Is that what you're saying?
That's
It'd
an
be a huge
evolutionary step back.
It would definitely impact how knowledge is shared, and it would definitely impact how knowledge is disseminated in the future.
Well, if you've kind of paid attention a little bit, there is a level of control attempting to be established throughout the internet to filter sometimes our ability to connect and how much we can take there. I mean, there was an active fight against certain ideologies. There is a fear within the internet, I feel sometimes by the controlling bodies, not to get political,
Well, they
but
fear it, if that's what you're saying.
yes, that's what I
Well,
mean.
and they should.
Yeah,
And they should.
They
they
should.
should.
They damn well
Absolutely.
should.
This is like, I'm a big believer in direct action when it comes to changing things. Like, if you're going to protest, and I don't believe that carrying a sign and walking down the street is going to do you any good. I think you need to break shit to get stuff done. I'm a believer in direct action when it comes to that. If you're gonna protest, go break shit.
Shit or get off the pot.
And so but with the internet, that allows you to spread your message uncontrollably, and so, but you still have to I forgot where I was going.
You're a
with
fan
this.
of direct action.
I really am. And the nice thing about the internet is it does allow you to say anything you like. Now, the medium also affects the message. And so if I go out into a bulletin board like the good old days, if you go to Reddit, you're going to get a better cross-section of opinion and more if you're looking at
Less
a certain
memes.
subject,
You're getting more direct information.
you're going to get actual
getting a lot of
information
input,
as
yes.
opposed to some
And it's more real time.
as opposed to someplace like Facebook where everything is
Dude,
memed
listen,
to death.
I want to strike that point directly because when the tragedy of the Texas shootings occurred,
Which ones are these now? I can't keep up.
it was the major ones in Dallas recently. It was earlier last year, but it was the big. It was one of the larger ones. I was on Reddit.
I don't mean to sound cold, but I
it's-
can't keep up anymore.
It's hard.
You don't have to.
Oh, it's the Dallas
but-
ones? Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
No, I'm sorry.
But I was on Reddit at the time, and I had seen what was going on hours before anyone on my Facebook feed was really starting to circulate it. And my point is not the event, Rob, and your distaste for the multitude of mass shootings and your inability to cope and maintain and keep up with them all, unlike the rest of us fucking humans. But it was the speed at which the information was shared on Reddit,
Sure.
and how quickly I had it, and I was seeing crazy videos. Like I could see there was a person in a parking garage who was recording these people running down the street, laying down, covering fire, coming around, murking a cop. It was horrific, and it was happening. Like I had seen that within an hour of it happening,
Right.
because I just happened to be on the Reddit pulse. And that's what's crazy about this new digital network that we have now. How many different little pulse lines are there, and how can we keep up with them all? And that's why I would take the fucking microchip.
Yeah, well, it's there's definitely it's a sophisticated medium, and if you are willing to be sophisticated, you can get out of the medium a good distilled or undistilled truth every now and then.
Sure.
Where, like, if you just read the headlines that your friends post on Facebook constantly, you're gonna get a watered down, mushy version of reality. Whereas if you're willing to go to the actual news sites or the actual opinion makers, or you know what, I got a news. Here's something that I keep a breaking news alert for just interesting breaking news on my phone, and the thing will go off as soon as Reuters or AP or one of the big outlets announces something is happening somewhere. It went off. I happened to have it open, and I saw that there was a shooting going on in Paris.
Okay.
So I got on, instead of going to the news sites to see what the deal was, I got on Periscope, and I pulled up Paris, and I saw 3 different feeds of people fucking running for their lives.
Right.
Live,
Here and now,
unfiltered,
unbiased, unfiltered reality.
real shit.
So
So I was like, okay, something's actually happening there.
right.
And that is a magnificent step that
That's
you
outstanding.
carried, and that's an initiative that you took. And how can we trigger more of that initiative
if you're-
within people to go that extra
Yeah,
step,
but if you're
Justin?
not-
What's your suggestion? Like, how do we get people there? How do we get people to subscribe to what's happening now as opposed to what's being fed on the plate?
There's some days when I am unwilling to go through that effort. You know, it's like it can be a grueling thing as well. But if you want the easy way out, You subscribe to your news feed on Facebook or wherever, and then you just take whatever pablum they serve you that day.
Right.
And it's usually some kind of thing about kittens, and then something about Trump and politics, some
That sums it up.
bullshit, and something on the something overtly racist that's not racist.
I would suggest
or
presently
you can go
that
to,
everyone has seen one of their Facebook friends right now, share a level of disgust and frustration across the past year of Trump and political and Hillary, anything.
Sure.
People are so sick of seeing that come across that feed.
Oh man, I loved it. That was the best show on earth, man. I'm sorry it's over. I
No,
wish it could go on for 5 more years. That was the best show that's ever been.
I'm glad it's over.
$2.5 billion
I'm not-
to do that.
It's crazy. I see people
was
complaining
so
about it
good.
all the time.
Oh my god! But it was the fake outrage. Okay, so how do you get that
Recreational.
laser level of information?
Yeah.
You-
How do we encourage people to take the
you-
laser
you-
step as opposed to
you
what's
s-
been so easily there for them?
Well, you just have to take an active interest in what it is, and you have to look at the source of the information you're getting. You have to go to a place that
There's
not
got to
only
be a cue for you. There's got to be some sort of a cue that establishes an identity with this perhaps is wrong, or I can't trust this anymore, or a cue of inconsistency.
Well, if you get the online version of any major newspaper, the first thing they ask you is, what are your interests? So if you go through what you think your interests are, and they may not actually be your interests, it may be the interests that you think that other people think you like, and you go, oh, I'm an artist, so I like art, and I like this, and I like that, and I like sci-fi books, and I like
Sure.
this. Instead of going what you really truly think are your interests. Okay, you're looking at the New York Times or something huge, and then you go through and you go your interests, and you don't put in business news or you don't put in something else, you're going to get a different version of the newspaper that the billionaire
Of course,
is going to get.
it's a customized piece of news. Yeah.
Right. And so, but what you've done, you've already at that point limited what you're looking at.
And
When-
alienated yourself
Does
from raw
does
truth.
anything frustrate you more than the same shit coming up on your YouTube feed over and over and over again?
Well, and that's the algorithms
would.
that shape
It
the
would, but
internet's
luckily-
decision making for us.
So
and
how
there's
do
a
you
part of
step out of that?
programming occurring right now. I have a lot
When you
of
hit
friends,
trending on YouTube,
I have a lot of friends who suggest their phone or their fucking internet through the computer has perhaps heard them, because several people through different walks of my life have alleged they had a conversation with their wife or their husband and never had this conversation online. But they had this conversation directly with somebody they knew about some sort of purchase or vacation they wanted to make.
Come up on the.
And it'll come up. Like before, like a friend of mine who before
paranoia?
before they ever searched going on a vacation to Tahiti.
Yeah.
I can't remember what I had for breakfast this morning.
They
I can't
talked about
remember
having
every-
it with their wife, and then all of a sudden they
Tahiti
log into
vacation deals
Facebook,
pops up.
and it's and there's Tahiti suggestions, and look at these flight deals to Tahiti, and that's just a broad spectrum. But I have a lot of just different relative people who suggest that perhaps in their daily conversations, the algorithms that shape the presentation of sponsorship in your social media heard you, whether it was through your TV or your phone.
There's the technology's built in to do that.
It
I
is
don't know.
absolutely there.
I don't know if it's
Yeah.
active or not, but I don't remember what I had for breakfast this morning. So if you ask me, if I say to you, I've never ever looked up Tahiti before, that's me being, that's me over emphasizing something that may or may not be true, because I don't remember if I've ever searched for Tahiti.
Well, some
before.
people do remember what they had for breakfast, and some people maybe have never shared their breakfast with anybody on the internet world in their life, and every day they have steak and eggs and hash browns, and everybody around them knows that, and then all of a sudden, hey, look what pops up in front of you. Look, it's a deal on fucking hash browns at Target, $5
Okay,
off
if it's
coupon.
happening, that's
You know.
interesting, but it doesn't surprise me. How many times have you clicked on a piece of software on this thing and said, okay, Where
all the time.
Where it says
so it's a level of information
it wants
gathering.
access to your microphone. It wants access to your whatever. You've given people all
Could have
the
said you
all
will
the
give
ammo
them
to
your
do that.
firstborn son.
But does it happen? I have a level of
Well,
skepticism on something like that. It's
what-
like people who say you should believe in UFOs because I saw a UFO.
No, what the,
No.
what the fact of it is, Justin, is that there are information gathering data centers, and they've acquired it through multiple levels of hard-earned scrutiny, through your agreement, and they use that to design and shape how everything is presented to you. It's how Target knows whether or not a woman is pregnant. This is real documented science behind social study.
I'm not saying that doesn't exist, but
absolutely
right next
there.
to you, within 3 inches of your arm, is the most advanced tracking device that's ever been created by man, and you pay for it, and you agree to it.
I love it.
And you load it with things that are guaranteed to track you somehow. You've given them all the permission they need. If I wanted to hit you with a drone strike, I wouldn't aim for you.
Aim for your phone.
I'd hit your phone, because that phone hasn't been more than 30 feet away from you since the day you bought it.
That's how the government does it.
You know what?
That's the reality.
And so that's what
When they
this
really
is the
do
most
order
advanced
up a
tracking
real
device
drone
that's
strike.
ever existed. And so,
and it's also the
is it
most
possible?
advanced tool that we've ever put in the hands
But
of
you
most
can't be-
human beings on the
Okay.
face of planet
But-
Earth.
but-
So
but-
I don't want to
but
design it as some sort of fear object.
But you can't say, "Oh my God, they're tracking us," and then be complicit in the tracking. Of course they're tracking you. That's what this is all about. That's why Facebook isn't there so you can connect with your family. Facebook is there so they can extract information from you, so they can sell it to an advertiser. That's the entire reason Facebook exists.
That's not a conspiracy.
It's not.
There's nothing
no. That's a
conspiratorial
rock
about
solid
it.
business plan. That company makes $500 million every 3 months
Kudos to them.
because of that. And
Good job.
it's one of those things that's just like, of course they're mining that data. Of course,
Right.
you do
Be
not
stupid
have any
not to.
digital privacy unless, of
You know what?
course,
If you're
use
not,
a
I
burner
want to
phone
sell you the idea
and
to
you never
do
log
that.
in.
If you're not, I want to sell you that idea because, obviously you're missing the point.
But
That's
I'm
the
not going to
entire
get. I can't get outraged if you tell me, "Oh, I've never typed this into a search engine before. My phone listened to me and it served me up an ad." I can't feel your outrage,
Right.
because we've all bought into this.
I'm not suggesting there should be outrage, and I love the question because it sort of begs to wonder, at this point, my friends, if you have a computer, if you have a laptop, if you have a cell phone, if you're sending text messages, if you're sending emails, the fact of the matter is, no matter what you believe, no matter who you are, no matter where you are, if there's truly somebody who wants your information, if they want to get it, if they have to have it, they're going to use it, they're going to design it to their fashion, they're going to monetize it, they're going to send you coupons based on that information, you're going to get digital advertising based on that, and it's all part of the internet reality that we have to exist in, and it subsides next to us here today in our houses, and it extends throughout the entire network of our culture. And that, my friends, has been a very good talk.
Good talk.
Thank you for listening. Find us on Twitter. We're at the Good Talk 5. Justin R. Martin, please plug your website one last time.
All of my information can be found at posemuse.com.
I fucking love it. Thanks for finding us, guys.